Hello and welcome back to TimTom podcast. So this is in this episode we'll be reviewing Earl Sweatshirt's latest album, some rap songs, followed by Dummy Boy by 6969.
Scum gang.
I Want to Die. Then then we'll be doing the new EP from the Alchemist, Bread, and another EP from KAYTRANADA, Nothing Like You Changes. Okay, and
Let's
it's
kick it off.
off the cuff, a rather strong week actually.
Ooh,
Uh, but let's get into it. So I hated some rap songs, and after listening to Dummy Boy, I must say Dummy Boy is a far superior project, and I don't even
oh
think we should
wow.
be doing it. Said no one ever.
Oh, god
um,
damn.
yeah, this was well worth the wait. It's been 3 years since Earl dropped an album, and
3 and a bit.
you will know if because you listened to the previous week's Earl Sweatshirt Earl Sweatshirt marathon. Um, yeah, so some rap songs. It's pretty bloody amazing.
I had it down as a selection of short experimental tracks with interesting mix choices and great lyrics.
Mm. I think it has. This is it's not the direction I saw him going in.
No, me neither.
It's completely out of left field, and I think it's the best thing that could have happened to him musically. This is the best sounding Our Sweatshirt project, in my opinion. And
Really.
I know it's in the honeymoon period. I've only been listening to it for a week, but when you listen to it in a full dose, it's everything in it just works so well together. What gets me is the sequencing between these songs.
Hmm.
They're really, really good. Some of them flow really nicely into the other ones. Some of them are very abrupt and jarring. It all just works.
Yeah, which is quite weird considering how different a lot of the instrumentals are.
Yeah,
That it's
definitely.
sequenced so well. And
Yeah.
I thought that a lot of the production and the song style reminded me of like Naughty's Kanye and Naughty's MF Doom as well with the
Yeah, I got some real MF Doom vibes. And MF Doom being one of those bigger um bigger influences. It
yeah. Have you seen that video when him and Tyler went to that MF Doom show and they were going crazy?
no.
Oh, that's a funny watch.
Send me a link, I'll watch it after the cast. Um okay, so shall we do a track by track?
Go ahead.
Okay, kicking it off with Shattered Dreams. It's
Hmm.
immediately a different, more unique and lo-fi sound. It's just the furthest he could have strayed from that sort of Odd Future sound, which we noted was apparent in his previous albums, despite him still finding that sort of his own groove and his own sound. I think he's definitely found a sound with this project, and it's apparent from the offset with this track. Tom,
Yeah, well, it was weird because I've never heard him over like a chopped up soul sample before, and then it's kicked off with this track, and it's on many others as well, and it was just a
yeah, I was a
bizarre
big
thing.
fan of all the soul samples in this. I thought it worked so well. It was yeah, it's exactly sort of what I wanted to hear from him. Just something more. I didn't think Earl Sweatshirt would go in a sort of experimental hip hop route, but it's I think it's really good. It's really uh um really rubbed me the right way.
Yeah, and it went straight into a track that I still can't get my head around, and I've probably listened to this album about 10 times.
Mm.
Red Water.
Yeah.
It's the beat. The mix is so gritty. The beat's so choppy, and the vocals, his vocals are really choppy as well. It sounds like they were recorded on different mics, or like some of the lines are over the phone or something.
Yeah.
Because it keeps on
Some.
moving around. It's hard to follow, and it's like not even 2 minutes long.
Yeah. It's
This
gets me.
wasn't
There's
my
so many.
favorite.
I don't know. It's I'm a big fan of. You can tell how much work has gone into this. It's not just you can just bang this out in one sitting in the studio. This has been like there's a lot of work. I reckon everything has been done purposefully, and
Actually, I
it
don't know about that with this track because it does sound so weird, but it's just one continuous refrain over 3 times. This track, so I'm not entirely sure what the aim of it was. This is one I'd probably take out personally if I was him, although I can see why people like it.
I really like the glitchy beats. It's like a more subdued. Yeah, it reminds me of. It's sort of like JPEG Mafia, sort of that sort of a glitchy beat. And I think there's one of the songs which has this sort of wailing sample in it, but so unique. This whole album is just so unique. I haven't heard, I've heard things similar to it, which it reminds me of, but just it stands on its own 2 feet, and
Hmm.
it just really like. When I listen to it today, like the third time all the way through, third or fourth time, it really just like knocks my socks off. As a whole cohesive project, it works really really well. As Cold Summers, which I remember having this really sort of disturbing line. It's like keep a noose hanging off my man neck.
Yeah, this is the first time where we get the Earl that I love, the hungry, rapping at it Earl, because the first track was quite laid back. The
Mm.
second one was really choppy, but this one was just Earl rapping over a good beat, which something I'd like to say on the production. He did a fair chunk of it himself to
The
make it,
production.
yeah,
All right.
to sort of make it his own, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Damn.
yeah, this was the first one that really stopped me in my tracks. Like, okay, here we go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the first actually that's a lie. Shattered Dreams did as well,
Yeah.
just
I
because of
think.
how far it was from anything I've heard him do before.
Yeah. This album it's grown on me over the week. It's grown on me an awful lot. And
Mm.
then so it's followed by Nowhere to Go, which I think works even better in the context of the album.
I've got to say, I disagree. I like it a lot
Oh
less
right.
in the context of the album because it doesn't sound like anything else.
I disagree. I think it's in the same vein as the rest of the sort of lo-fi, choppy, glitchy beat.
Yeah, but all of the other ones sound a bit like they're almost like they could be live, or they're all like live instrumentation at least. And this one's fully electronic, and I think it really stands out, and not
Mm.
necessarily in a good way.
I'm not sure. I think I'll agree it stands out, but I disagree. I think it I mean there's a reason it was chosen as the lead single for it. It's definitely one of the better songs on this project. But I think I really like how it works into the rest of the songs. I Yeah, I'm just gonna have to disagree with you on that.
That's all right.
And then December 24th. Yeah, so there was this is what I was talking about earlier with the sequencing being varied, and so here the end of Nowhere to Go just cuts off very abruptly and goes into December 24th, and it's yeah, I really loved it. That's sort of just a complete shift 180 into this song, and then it has this really cool lo-fi sample, this sort of like muffled piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, uh, I
Production
really.
from Denmark Vasi on this one.
And then it's there was some like haunting lyrics in this, like you're hard and then your limbs break. Like it's that sort of um what's the word? It seems sort of nihilistic in a way, but I guess it's all meditating over a track.
Yeah, this was a highlight for me as well. I like this song a lot. But probably my favourite song was the next one, On the Way.
On the way.
Production from
Oh.
jazz group or person standing on the corner with
Mm-hmm.
those sort of rapping over. I think this was definitely the best produced track.
Yeah.
Sounded the most perfect. I thought some of the glitchy and lo-finess sounded a bit forced at points, but this one, it
Mm.
was just there. It was beautiful.
I really loved the sort of surf vibe that the guitar had. And
Mm.
then what got me is the outro on this track.
Yeah, when it switched, but the guitar
Yeah.
stayed the same.
Oh, it's great. It's like you know, I reckon it's up there with some of the like best outros. Like Nights, Frank Ocean. That's like a classic. Everyone's like, this is gonna be one that people you find it on YouTube, like slowed down, reverb, whatnot. Yeah, it was really cool. And then followed up by the Mint. Like it
Which,
just, I think on this album, it's just there's never a dull moment, and that's in part thanks, or in large part thanks to how short a lot of the songs are. It
and the
doesn't give you,
runtime as a whole.
yeah, it doesn't give you a chance to get bored. You're seeing new things constantly, and within the same songs, there's beat switches, and then by the time you've gotten into one song, the next song has started. It's and it's all such a unique project. It's an artistic tour de force from Earl, in my opinion. And I'm like, by this point, I was really impressed. He'd already won me over.
This single I thought fitted snugly and perfectly into the album.
Mm.
Aesthetic and everything with the lo-fi production, the piano, and the only vocal feature besides his parents
Sorry?
from Navy Blue.
Ah, yeah. Who was not his brother? Can I say again?
Yes, please stress that.
Yeah. um.
This was probably the one where he got into his. This was the bit that sort of highlighted for me when I listened to it last. That this is the part of the album. There's a stretch of like the last two songs, and I think the next couple where he really gets all into his lyrical stuff.
Mm,
Because this one, as we said in our original track review, had a lot of eye-catching lines,
mm.
especially the refrain at the end. Lot of blood to let, peace to make, give a
Yeah.
fuck
God
about
damn.
a check. That shit's catchy as hell.
Yeah. Disturbing. And so this is followed up by the Bends, which is another like unique sort of. I mean, it was more melancholy after this point, I
Hmm.
found. And then Lucy has this very strange like cyclical beat, like all the rest of them.
Oh, on the bends, just quickly, I love
Yeah, yeah.
the line. Now the checks we're getting are handsome, and just before that, you know it's real if the letters sealed with wax. All true. And this is another great chop soul beat as well.
Hmm.
But on Lucy, what were you going to say about the instrumental?
It was just it struck me as more of a cyclical beat, like just the beat is it seems more manufactured than some of
I
the other ones.
thought it sounded like I was trying to get my head around it as well. I thought it sounded maybe like a jazz standard reversed
Okay.
because some of the drums sounded like they're a bit out of sequence. So I think that's might be what it is. I'm not entirely sure. There was definitely something, even by this album standard, that was out of whack.
Hmm. It was a yeah. Then after that was
But this track
Apricot.
was under a minute long.
Yeah. And the outro's probably the final song is a minute long, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait. So Azakar. Um. Okay, I didn't really have much to say about this.
No,
It's
me
just
neither.
another great sample.
It's
And just
probably
the
the
production.
best, the
Sure.
happiest sounding beat.
I'd say the happiest sounding beat is the final track.
Oh, apart from that one.
Yeah. So then there's Eclipse. Um. It's like there's some. What's one like say goodbye to my openness.
Mm.
Yeah. It's openness total eclipse, and it's
Yeah, I love the reference to Eclipse
yeah.
in the
And
hook.
then came Vens, the piece to have a crease in your brain uh, line. It's yeah, there was some very interesting tracks on this, and I
Oh, and
think
he also said, "Rip the collar off your dog." As in your friends, but also dogs have collars.
ah um
Into
and then
playing possum,
yeah, playing possum.
which is
Jeez.
this was a. I mean, I actually read it on Genius before I listened to it. That this was the fine. This happened, so I knew that it was his parents. His mum's one sounds like an acceptance speech, and his dad's, I think, is a poem or a spoken word passage. But
Mm.
they're chopped up, so they're like they keep going back and forth with each other.
Yeah, and at some points going over each other. It was when I listened to this time, like it just stopped me dead in my tracks. It has this very it's very dreamy um instrumentation in the background, and it's yeah, it really made me just stop and listen to it. I was sort of mesmerized at parts. Yeah, and I thought so with it referencing, I mean, it has his dad in it, and his dad's recently passed, and I thought it was followed up perfectly by Peanut,
Which
which is
was
the
the-
darkest, like the darkest sounding track.
it
It
was
was
a bit of a stray from everything we'd had before because all the other
what?
beats were quite busy. They were quite full, even if they were lo-fi. This one
Yeah,
was
but
very minimalist. There was nothing at all really,
I
and
think
then the subject matter matched it.
yeah, and it's what got me about the beat was so this track reminded me an awful lot of Grief on I Don't Like Shit I Don't Go Outside. Except it was the beat reminded me a lot with it being so I as you say minimalist, I'd say oppressive. It feels like I mean there's not that much going on with the beat, but it just feels like a wall of sound that's just there. Just like the same on Grief. It's just this wall of sound which envelops you. And it's yeah, it really was I
And
really
it's all talk.
appreciate this listen. And what I also appreciate is the fact that it's the only song on this album which goes that deep and that dark, and it's following this other track which features his parents. So it feels like it sort of naturally follows it all, and then after this we have this very happy closer. Well, sort of not happy.
It
Well,
was
yeah,
more of a sad triumph, wasn't it? Like you'd been in the war and you'd
yeah,
won, but all your friends died.
yeah,
This would be the kind of thing you'd play.
yeah.
Although I
This,
swear he's played this song on his radio show before, something that sounded very similar.
yeah, it's sort of a sky type thing going on
But it
with
was
that.
beautiful either way.
Yeah. I thought it just blew me away, this album. Particularly the final three songs. Just yeah, they did a number on me, dude. Yeah.
I mean,
I
this was, for me, when I first heard it, I didn't really know what had just happened. I was a bit like, what?
Yeah, me
So I
too.
had to listen to it again and again and again. And I think I've listened to it about 10 times now.
It's I think it's Earl's best work, in my opinion.
I think as a whole thing, it's his best. Like, because there are no tracks apart from, for me, Red Water, which I'd perhaps leave
Mm.
out. The rest of it I liked as a whole thing, but I don't think the songs themselves can stand alone against a lot of his previous work.
I'll give you that. I will give you that. But I think just the fact that he had the balls to make things so unconventional and out of left field, it's a proper concept album, and
Mm.
it's a proof of concept, and it's I really want more sort of outlandish stuff like this from him because it's really good. It's and I wanted to say like I just can't stress enough how much listening to it today like I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely one of my favorite things that we've reviewed so far. I'm very happy, very happy. Well worth the wait. And I was thinking like I'd just get this on record like now.
I
It's
wonder how
so
it would sound.
I reckon like with the lo-fi sort of beats, and then especially with some of the more nice sounding like uh, surfy type instrumentals, I reckon it'd be great on vinyl. Yeah, very.
With all that being said, this is probably a strong 8 for me.
I'd give it a 9, if I'm being honest. Just because of that, um, because of how much it has grown on me, and I reckon I'm going to listen to it a fair few times in the coming future. So yeah, 9 from me. Thank
Quality
you very
listen
much, Earl.
around.
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so now on to Dummy Boy.
Treyway.
Is it an LP?
It is
Just
an
checking.
LP. It's his debut album,
Oh bloody hell!
apparently.
And probably the only one he is ever going to drop because he is going to prison for life.
And he leaked this from prison. Well, that's not been confirmed. Don't get ahead of yourself.
Yeah.
He's facing 35 to life though, so you fancy
Whoa.
he'll do a bit of time.
Mm.
Okay, so are there any tracks that really stood out for you?
Well, I appreciated the opener, Stupid. We've already reviewed it. I've listened
Yes.
to it probably like 4 or 5 times. Bobby Schmurder, free Bobby Schmurder.
It was
Um,
always great to hear a bit of Bobby Schmurder.
yeah,
So that was one of
and
the 3 singles for this album, along with Fifi, which I really didn't like.
well, I was just gonna remind the listeners that today, this week, we are sponsored by the Free Bobby Schmurder walkout happening.
Oh yes, of course. I can't believe we didn't mention this earlier.
Yeah, so
Ohio Tech University, Bobby Schmurder, the free Bobby Schmurder walkout coming soon. Keep an eye out. Keep an ear. Tell your friends.
tell your colleagues, tell everyone,
And
tell your mum.
if you're at a uni yourself, arrange one because it needs to happen.
It does need to happen. You see, there are pressing issues in this world, and then there are real issues like Bobby Schmurder being in prison.
False imprisonment.
Okay, let's get on with the review.
Let's not.
Um, I thought Fifi had this it has this like really aggressive beat.
mm,
I enjoyed Nicki Minaj's performance. Nicki
yeah,
Minaj is on this a fair bit. She's on like
she's
three
got
songs.
2 tracks, 2 songs.
No, she's on
Fifi and Mama.
really she's not. Okay, yeah, she is. I'm an idiot.
She's the only thing that saved this song for me from being total garbage.
Yeah,
The murder beat sucked. Takashi's auto tune was pretty much unlistenable. Nothing like Tay Keith's beat on the previous track, which I forgot to mention as well. It was just destined to be a hit, that track. Stupid.
Then there was Kika,
Oh,
where
do you not
like,
like TikTok? I thought that was pretty good.
oh, I don't think I like TikTok.
Oh, well, I like the guitar beat, if nothing else. Anyway, Kika, good as well.
Yeah. It's like a more, having listened to some of 6ix9ine stuff, like, you know, where he's like screaming like he's in Billy, like
Yes.
this is it, this is 6ix9ine. Uh,
With a
and
lovely Tory Lanez feature as well.
yeah, I liked it.
And what about the Scott Storch steel drum beat? It was an interesting thing as well.
I haven't written it down.
Interesting moment. Okay. Well, Mama, as we
Mama,
mentioned earlier,
oh, whew, goddamn.
featuring production again from Murder Beats. This is one of 3 beats he gave to
This
6ix9ine.
track just blew me away. It actually did. The first time I listened to it, it was I just could not. It's so catchy. It is such a
Yes,
great beat. And then it's my favorite song on this project. Can I just preface
mine
this?
too.
It has a great sample with this sort of really cool synth which sort of goes everywhere. Um, it's sort of the EQ on the voices is very cool. Has the echo. The bass is like really bouncy, and Nicki Minaj, like, what? Like, she was really, really good on this track.
hmm But
I
I
I
think
was
the scene was set for her. It was so Tekashi had this like place fillery hook and verse. Then
mm,
Kanye came in with this wild verse, which
mm,
started off pretty slow, with the damn oh my god bit that he
yeah.
did for the first 5 lines, I think.
She
Then he
got
went
an
into
Uber
his
to
rap.
she got an Uber
Oh
to a
Jesus
drive in
Christ!
Cock. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's so
whoa, like,
yeah. I
and
mean,
then it was set up perfectly for Nicki
yeah.
Minaj to just bring it home with a great verse and
Oh,
that catchy refrain
and
as
the
well. Like
hook. Yeah.
Kanye just me like
Yeah,
a
it's so
dog.
good. I've listened to it so many times. It's so good. I
This is
can't.
the only song I've listened to on its own.
Yeah. Why wasn't this like the lead single? That's I don't get. Because I mean, we had Stupid came out ages ago, but I think this should have come out first. And Stupid should have been an Easter egg.
Well,
That way,
I think it was done the other way around just purely because those were recorded, and then after that he went in the studio with Kanye and made the 2 tracks.
yeah. It was I really like. I like that Kanye's doing this sort of these these pretty interesting tracks with these I mean these artists are big, but they're not respected. I mean he did it with Lil Pump, and I
I was
mean
gonna
now
say, especially the other song Kanga. Uh, Kanye, this is very much I love it, Kanye. The
yeah,
more
and I
simple,
gotta
more
say like
outlandish.
yeah, I really like what he's doing. He's really like putting himself out there and making some of these more yeah, as you said, outlandish songs and honestly like it's it's very, very cool. Thank you, Kanye. Very cool.
hmm
Um,
Then straight after that, we had Waka, which was uh, could have been better in every aspect.
yeah.
A Boogie with the Hoodies feature was awkward. Scott Storch's beat wasn't great, and there was
I really
hardly
didn't
any 6ix9ine in this song, so it
yeah, I
was
really didn't like
just
that many songs.
pointless
Oh,
waste of a song. In fact, this was a run of 3 tracks I didn't really like. The second one, though,
wait,
BB, perhaps the worst song ever.
these the Latin in like
Yes,
in
this is the first of 2, both
yeah.
featuring Amwell AA. When I was reading through the production credits, I couldn't believe that Ronnie J was the producer of this track because he's used to making trap bangers, and instead he made this super sugary sweet Latin pop trash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
bit
stood away.
crap.
The second one I thought at least had a nice beat and the hook sounded kind of nice. But I don't know if it's just me, but I don't really like the sound of the Spanish language that much. I think that's one thing I've confirmed from this reggaeton craze. I don't think, because there was that song with Cardi B where she did it with two reggaeton people, and I just thought it sounded like he was spewing a bunch of annoying sounding gibberish. So I'm not a fan of Spanish language at all. I'm sorry. And Takashi's annoying, nasally, auto-tuned singing voice does even less for me.
I think we need to drop a. What got me is he's still dropping M bombs, and he's Hispanic.
Yes.
Don't approve. Don't approve.
I think it's just something that everyone's grown to either accept or who cares, he's going to jail anyway.
Yeah.
Then came back with a bit of restoration though. Kanga.
Oh yes, this very energetic track. It bounces. It's bold and it's good.
This is a wild murder.
Not as good as Mama though. Not as good as Mama.
Another murder beat though. This was again quite a good one. Takashi does the first verse and it was pretty good. And then him and Kanye go back to back.
Ooh.
So he says two lines, and Kanye says two lines.
Mm.
His first two lines, by the way. Oh no, I think it was his second one. They tried to say "I'm not black no more," about as black as Macklemore. I mean, it was a contest to see who could be the most wild.
Yeah.
And I don't really know who won, but I'm here for it.
I mean, Takeshi 69 is going to prison. That's pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, I've gone straight on to Tati from here. Is that alright?
All that.
Yeah.
I didn't think FIFA was very interesting.
No. There's a licky on my blicky.
Yeah, he brought the flow back.
Oh, I loved it. I love it. I wanted to try and write my own Takeshi 69 inspired haiku with that flow, but I couldn't find anything that rhymed with blicky as well as licky.
Or sticky.
Ah, shit.
That's what he did originally. I think it's Gummo. But yeah, this one was an interesting one because it had production from Drake's in-house producer, Boy Wonder.
Right.
So I'm not entirely sure how that occurred, but there you go. 6ix9ine's got pull. And this is on the final. This is.
Well, he gets like an enormous amount of listeners on Spotify.
Yes, he's probably the most. I think the third most streamed artist worldwide. Something crazy like that. He's very high.
I reckon he's only been in the limelight for like a year.
Well, like he said, I think he said, "You only want to fuck me for the clout." He's got the clout.
Yeah, the man has the clout.
And then the final one I want to shout out was Wando. I don't know if you had an opinion on that one.
It wasn't one of the ones that I made a note of.
Well, this is probably the best Scott Storch beat on the album. It was quite a wild one. And then I liked 6ix9ine's flow. There's something about him just rapping over a sort of slightly left field trap beat and then just yelling. I think it makes me want to bob my head sometimes. Originally, I thought it just sounded like garbage, but when I've sort of listened to some of the actual garbage that he's created, I can sort of see why his appeal or his older stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
So the best thing I can say about Dummy Boy. Oh, by the way, the outro was total garbage.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was so weak.
The production for the most part was great. It had the tracks, but he said in his Breakfast Club interview that this album is all hits, 13 hits. What would you say to that?
I'd say that's bullshit. It has like 3, 4 hits, maybe 5, at a stretch.
Oh, I
And
think I give him 5.
yeah, it's not 13 hits. You should have just dropped a 5-song EP.
Well, he was never going to do that, with all due respect.
No.
The only thing we should be glad of is the fact that he didn't do what Migos did and make it like 24 songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or
But yeah,
what?
this is a night.
Wait.
It the short run time, and even then, it felt like a bit of a marathon. So
Yeah. It did take a while.
because it had some terrible musical ideas, namely the Latin pop track.
Yeah.
So
With
yeah,
I wasn't sure. Those ones just reminded me of the Patois song on Oxnard, and that did not impress me either. But
no.
okay, now we're leaving that. Do you want to rate it?
I'm gonna give it a 35 to life out of 10.
Okay, and with that, we're gonna move on to Bread by Alan the Chemist. So,
Alan,
yeah, Alan.
a loved guy in my opinion. One of the top tier producers. Drops 4 songs.
Probably one of the best chemists I've ever used.
The
He
best
knows.
chemist I've ever known
Yeah, and I've known many a chemist.
in my
I
day.
suffer from many illnesses. I have a terrible immune system, and I'm dying. Um, anyway, let's go on with this. So it's this cheeky little EP that's
Mhm.
just dropped with features on every track, and so there's the songs, and then there's the beats separately.
Yeah,
So a bit of both, and I think that's the best way to do it. The same is done on
on the KAYTRANADA one as well.
the EP as well. Um, yeah, this is a really bloody good one. I mean, we a few weeks ago we reviewed Fetty by Alan the Chemist,
So
and
go back and listen to that if you haven't already.
yeah, we both loved Fetty, and I mean, I'm just gonna say, like Rey Mysterio, the opener on this sounds like it's straight off of Fetty. It's really
From
cool.
production standpoint.
Yeah, which I mean, the same guy should, but like it's really cool, and also reference to like my favorite WWE wrestler when I was a kid, Rey
hmm
Mysterio.
The track's kicked off by West Side Gun, who I've got to say, ever since I've been introduced to, I've not really liked his voice all that much. And unfortunately, the same can be said here. Although I did like how he rode the beat quite well. But for
Yeah,
me,
I'll
it
give.
was all about Conway when he came in,
Mm,
stole the show, and did 6ix9ine as well.
sorry.
Yeah, he said all your blickies are stiffy, but you only use out of fear.
And now he's facing 35 to life.
Very clever line.
Mm.
And then
So
into Roman candles. Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
yeah, no, I was just gonna say it. Yeah, I was gonna do what you did. Transfer over to the next song.
It's a lovely trumpet bass beat for me.
Mm.
Rock
Very smooth.
Marciano kicked off the
Very
track.
smooth.
It was a solid verse before. Oh my lord, Black Thought, former Roots member. He brought the bars, did he not?
I mean, yeah. It's what really stood out to me was just the beat on this. I really loved the horns in it. It was so
Mm.
smooth. It's oh, I mean, it should be expected. The production here is going to be exceptional, and it is.
I mean, I could be reeling off his whole verse, but I just want these few lines to resonate with you for a second.
Okay.
More holy than matrimony, I charge a homie with acting phony and raising the bar like a partition.
Sorry, raising the bar like a what?
A partition.
Oh,
and then it fades out with a lovely vocal sample at the end.
Hmm.
This is just this is probably my favourite song, actually. I'd say Roman Candles
I'd say my favorite song
of the
is E.
four.
coli. My favorite song is E. coli.
We also had Mac 10, which was a bit of a filler one for me. It wasn't.
No,
I mean, Conway did
I mean, I'll,
alright.
I'll give you that. Okay, yeah, no, it's a bit, it's yeah, it's a bit filler, but like
The
Mac
first
10.
beat I didn't like at all,
Oh, I was a big fan of how like
but when it
gloomy,
switched, when it
ominous the whole thing
switched,
was.
when it
Yeah.
switched, I liked the second beat a lot better.
Hmm. But I guess we'll go now on to E. coli,
Second
my
mention of
favorite.
the episode to Earl Sweatshirt, who's the vocal feature. This was the lead single. It came out last week, but we
Yeah.
decided not to review it because we're going to do it right now.
Yeah.
It
And the
was
whole
a
thing.
vocal sample based beat, lovely, lovely use of that, with a
Mm.
decent Earl Sweatshirt verse.
Yeah.
Namely, the funny line, "I wasn't born, Mama snatched me from a stalk on a
Yeah.
Friday."
Ah.
Being
It's
Earl, he had to take it that extra mile with the day he was snatched off a stalk as well.
who doesn't know the day they were snatched though? You know, your parents aren't real parents if they don't tell you that. Yeah, I was a big fan of the sample. It's like it's a bit melancholy as well. It
Hmm.
reminds Yeah, and it's I mean it's very fitting for the artist who's gonna be at like spitting bars over it. It's there were some strings further into it which I thought really classy. And yeah, I really liked E. coli. E. coli is my favorite song, my favorite track on this project.
It had a
And
very nice beat as well.
mm, and when I listened to it, I listened to it for the first time just on YouTube before it was all out. And yeah, just again, it just blew me away. I hadn't heard anything like it. And yeah,
It's good that the Alchemist, he's over 10 years in the game now. Might even
age
be 15, and he's still qualified,
still a
gifting
qualified.
us, gifting us with quality instrumentals. Still inspired,
Yeah,
and I think that's great to see personally.
I agree.
And as
I
long as
agree.
he's chopping up beats, I think the world's a better place. And I think that Action Bronson's album was really lacking some Alchemist production that he usually has.
Right. And so from one EP to the next, was this a single?
No, this is three. This is an EP.
Okay, this is a very short one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Well,
so
it's only
nothing
one
like
less track. Another producer EP from KAYTRANADA, who we've cited again before, namely with his work with Mick Jenkins on A Piece
mm.
of a Man.
These are two great producers who we both are very fond of. So it was a very pleasant listening experience.
Yes.
And what got me is this is like a very lo-fi sort of lo-fi house EP.
Very
I remember,
housey.
yeah, I wasn't sure. How do you feel about that? Because I know your views on house music are um, not you don't
Well,
find favorable.
no, not overly, but there was something I would like to say. The second track sounded a
Mm.
lot like White Noise by Disclosure. In like the vocal usage and the beat sound is quite similar as well. I don't know if you're familiar with that song.
Not familiar with that track. It sounded like something I had heard before.
Which
How
is a
the chord
house.
progression went like up in the end, or that sort of.
Actually, no, the beat's not that similar, but the vocals definitely are.
I really love Chances. Chances like gave me life. I loved it. The instrumental. It was yeah, just it reminds me of like it reminds me of it's just this one chord at the end. It just It reminds me of like the soundtrack of this PS2 game when I was a kid. um, yeah, Fire Warrior for those who are interested. Um, Shay Leah, she has this really soft, breathy sort of sweet performance in it, and it really complements the beat very well.
And the hook
And
is great.
mm, and the Nothing Like You, the other title track, it's just like really good. Ty Dolla Sign is really soulful all over it, and it's
Yeah,
really
the
played.
beat's got so much going on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really cool. And there's a there's like that line halfway where it's like a I don't know doing something and it's like when we could be kissing and fucking. I was like
Yeah.
oh yeah, this is very funny. It has
Although
this.
it does again bring up the question:
Mhm.
why is Ty Dolla Sign's features so good, and yet his solo material is so mediocre?
Oh, that's a question I think we should best leave to the experts, the great philosophers of our time.
Good idea.
Ben
But
Shapiro.
yeah, he really dominated this track in a good way and
Yeah, definitely.
took it
Because
where it needed to
it
go,
had
I think.
it had this like great bass and these like house like claps, actual claps, and then like some trappy snares and there's a really dreamy synth. It was just feel good. All the songs were
Mm.
like feel good, lo-fi house, which I really like. I mean, lo-fi house is something I'm a big fan of. I like house music and I like lo-fi house on YouTube. I'm not a fan of like um not it's less so that like DJ like the Winona by DJ Lonely, I think. More so there's some other lo-fi house channels and artists out there, but this is just like it's a really polished, um, a very polished, respected, and a highly talented artist's take on that genre, and it's very refreshing.
It was experimental house.
Yeah, it's KAYTRANADA is just adding another.
Especially the final track for me was probably where he went the most crazy with the sound.
Hmm. I
It
thought it
was
was
meant to be.
ballsy putting out no features, just instrumental. But I mean, it pays off. It's a bloody great instrumental.
Well, it sounded originally like a good hip hop beat, and I was like, you could have sold this to someone. They would have definitely bought it. But then the way
Yeah.
it progressed with the synth line originally, oh no, the bass, and then there's like that do 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 do. No, that's not how it sounds. But do you know what I mean? When
Oh, I
that
know what you
comes
mean.
in,
Yeah,
that's just.
it doesn't
It was
need.
like, no, you got to leave this as it is.
Yeah, it's it's such a great EP. I was very impressed listening to it. I was very happy, and it's short. I love a short project which goes in, gets the job done, and gets out. You know.
What, even 3 tracks?
Even 3 tracks. I mean, I'd like to hear more. I'd be up for a short album of these, or an extended EP of these lo-fi house beats. Yeah, as I was saying, it's just like it's great hearing someone with like more talent and more experience and more skill doing this, which is like a thing which lots of artists are doing now. Lots of these very small artists. I think it should mean a lot to them, and it adds some credibility to the genre as well.
And he's putting his own spin on it as well, 'cause it does have also reminiscent of sounds that he's done before.
Mm.
But yeah, I agree. I fully agree with you. A very successful venture, and if he was just sort of testing the water for things to come,
Or
I
I'm,
think he passed with
I'm
flying colours.
oh yeah, KAYTRANADA, keep doing your thing, you legend. And
Indeed.
with that we are
Yeah,
wrapping up.
that's just about us. Don't forget Ohio Tech University, Bobby
Bobby
Schmurder
Schmurder walkout.
walkout. Thanks for
Uh,
sponsoring us.
yeah, You have been our best sponsor yet. Actually, we were giving these Bobby Schmurder themed memorabilia,
Hmm.
and
Which I'm
yeah,
sure you can purchase somewhere.
I'm actually very sure you can purchase somewhere. um, yeah. So thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye bye.